as the hijab in Karnataka is concerned, the Karnataka High Court has adjourned till 2:30 tomorrow afternoon the hearing. Meanwhile, they have appealed to all sides to maintain peace in this entire matter. The Karnataka Chief Minister, too, seeing the law and order situation, has ordered that all schools and colleges be shut in Karnataka for the next 3 days until this matter is heard. Let's take this across to Shilpa, who's joining us for more on the story. Shilpa, this is a big issue indeed in Karnataka. The High Court also seized of this matter. Number of developments that have been witnessed in Shimoga and other parts of Karnataka where things did begin to get a little out of hand in terms of the law and order situation. And it is district after district that is now seeing these protests take place over the past 1 week.
Well, absolutely, Madhav. In fact, we are seeing very, very disturbing visuals coming in from different parts of Karnataka across college campuses. We are seeing students fighting amongst themselves. And the protests, of course, over the hijab controversy has spread to the neighboring state of Tamil Nadu as well. We are here in Chennai where the Tamil Nadu Tawheed Jamaat, just a short while back, they were staging a protest against the hijab controversy, saying that hijab is the right of Muslim women, and what the Karnataka government and the right-wing groups are doing is to, is an attack on their fundamental rights. And in fact, I'm just going to speak to some of the women who have gathered here. Ma'am, can you tell us, what do you think of this entire controversy? Because several people say hijab is regressive. Hijab, what the Karnataka government says is it is against public order. What do you have to say about this entire controversy?
Hijab is prescribed to us by our religion. Our Prophet has told us to wear it, to cover ourselves in front of strange men, to protect ourselves. It is absolutely for our safety. It is like we are safeguarding ourselves. We are safeguarding ourselves. Hijab is not only for women, it is also for men. When men see the others strange women, they have to lower their gaze. It is their hijab. Being India, a democratic country, a secular country, it is completely against the constitution. The constitution gives us the right to practice our religion, to practice the whatever, it is prescribed in our religion. It is our birthright. We are Indians. Constitution has given us all the right. Article 29, subdivision 2, it states that no citizen of India can be denied entry against into any educational institutions on the basis of religion, caste, race, or any language, or any of them.
How do you see the group of girl students being blocked from classrooms? And in a particular college, we saw how they were asked to sit in a separate room. What do you make of this?
It is like we are minority community, so the BJP government, they are oppressing us. They cannot ask the Hindu students to remove their bindi. They cannot ask them to remove the sacred thread. They cannot ask the Sikhs to remove their turbans. But they are asking the Muslims to remove the hijab. This is one of our dress. We cannot remove our dress and come to colleges. It is like they are oppressing us. Our religion is not oppressing us by giving us hijab. The government is oppressing us only because we are minority community. They cannot ask any others to do this. They are doing this because we are minority community. From the beginning of the BJP rule, Muslims are being oppressed through many ways. CAA is there, uniform civil code has come, and now this hijab, and we don't know what is tomorrow. Continuously, this BJP government is oppressing us.
Well, this was an argument that was made by the counsel of the petitioner as well in the Karnataka High Court today, that what about the other religious symbols? In fact, counsel Kamath, of course, went on to say that he is a Brahmin and his son, wears a namam when he goes to his school. So what about that? What if the state government tomorrow decides that the namam is also against public order? What about the turban that is worn by Sikhs? So that was one of the primary arguments that the counsel of the petitioner also made. And I'm joined by Al-Amin, who's the secretary of Tamil Nadu Tawheed Jamaat as well. So what do you make of the controversy that's happening in Karnataka, and what are your demands? Because we're seeing protests taking place not just in Karnataka but even in the neighboring state of Tamil Nadu.
See, ideally there should not be any demand, right? These are all the basic thing any human being wanted to have, right? This government currently being ruled in this country, right? Either it's a state government in Karnataka or the central government, making a non-issue as an issue. What a person needs to eat, what a person needs to wear, all these things are being controlled and dictated by someone who is they don't have any rights to do that. Indian Constitution has given a clear right to every Indian citizen, irrespective of religion. He can wear whatever he wants to, he can eat whatever he wants to, but these people are making it as a political issue to gain and polarize the votes for the upcoming elections. So in the next year, they are going to have an election.
Yeah.
So maybe Bommai wants to win the election. For that, they are deviating or polarizing.
Yeah, so that is the one charge that a lot of people are leveling, that this is being done to polarize the people of Karnataka ahead of the elections. And the Muslim groups, of course, say what they're doing is exercising their fundamental right, and nobody can deny them their fundamental rights. So that is the reason why we're seeing massive protests taking place, and it's extremely disturbing to see how students are pitted against each other. Questions need to be asked of the Karnataka government as to why they allowed this situation to escalate to this level, where we're seeing different groups fighting amongst themselves, students being denied their basic right to education. A lot of questions, of course, needs to be answered by the Karnataka government, but meanwhile the Karnataka High Court will hear the matter tomorrow, and we are of course expecting some interim order at least.
Stay with us. Certainly a lot of questions both sides have to answer as far as this entire matter is concerned. Courts will of course take a final call on that tomorrow, as you rightly mentioned. But let's listen to what Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has said. We have questions on this entire crisis and crisis, as it were, in of Karnataka. Listen of Karnataka, Basavaraj Bommai.
This whole thing started in one school. However, now it has spread to other districts, which is very unfortunate. The matter is seized by the High Court. We have put our case very clearly, constitutional and legal, Karnataka Education Act provisions we have been put. There has been some disturbances in few places. Therefore, I am appealing to the students that they have to maintain peace and harmony, because ultimately tomorrow they have to sit together and do all the educational activities, academic activities. Therefore, a peace and harmony should be maintained.
The situation about the hijab in Karnataka. Who is responsible for this?
भारत की राजनीति में तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति जो कांग्रेस ने शुरू की, वही इसके लिए सबसे बड़ा दोषी है।
ये देखिए, this situation has been created over 7 days. इसका जरूरत क्या था? ये तो छोटी सी बात है।
आपको पता नहीं, ये आप पत्रकार हैं, बड़े पत्रकार हैं। 1 साल पहले एक व्हाट्सएप पर पूरे कर्नाटक को जलाने की कोशिश की गई। कुछ लोग इस मानसिकता के हो गए हैं, खत्म हो तो इसको दबा देंगे, जो गजवाए हिंद के सोच के हैं। क्यों न रहे गजवाए हिंद के सोच? क्यों नहीं एक नई सोच को संगठित करने की कोशिश? अब कोई स्कूल में बच्चे नमाज पढ़ें और कोई उसके प्रतिक्रिया में स्कूल में कहे कि क्लास में हवन हम करेंगे, तो क्या होगा?
All right, let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us with us is Vikas Singh, former ASG. With us also is S. Prakash, BJP spokesperson. Karan Verma is an author. Joining us with us is Dr. Rahila Sikandar, lawyer, as well as Rizwan Siddiqui, senior lawyer, joining us. Let me begin with you first, Mr. Vikas Singh. Mr. Vikas Singh, where do you stand as far as this entire controversy is concerned? Because, many things have come up for discussion through the course of the hearing today. One of the arguments, for instance, that was made is that the petitioners at least feel that this wearing of hijab is a practice that is essential to Islam. Now, given the fact that in several countries this is not really practiced anymore, the question that then arises is, can this really be called or defined as an essential practice for Islam, is what the government and the BJP is saying.
Well, according to me, this entire controversy is highly, avoidable, because what has been done in Karnataka is something which is clearly reprehensible. The women or the girls used to wear hijab from before. It's not as if they suddenly started wearing hijab today. If they don't want to wear hijab, it is a matter of their choice. It is not as if the state can compel a girl not to wear hijab. Hijab is, also part of the decency for a Muslim woman. It also signifies that she wants to, be a little protected by that hijab. So according to me, something which was being done from before, and not as if it is being done suddenly for the time being, that you try to ban it or try to say that we'll bring. Now today a Sikh comes inside the classroom with a turban. It's also a religious practice. Will you say that you take off your turban? You don't ask the Sikh to take off his turban. In the constitution, if you see Article 25, as an explanation,
when it comes to turbans, they are codified in the religion, sir. When it comes to the wearing of the hijab, is it really codified in the religion? That's the question that even the bench sought an answer for today from the petitioners.
It's not a question of what is codified and what is not codified. It's a question of what the particular community feels to be an essential part of the religion. If that is so, then that should be happening. I can understand somebody in burqa wanting to appear in an examination and not wanting to show one's face.
Let me get a quick
that is understandable that you have to show the face because you have to identify.
From the BJP spokesperson, you mentioned the BJP. So Mr. S. Prakash, the question to the BJP coming in here from Mr. Vikas Singh, he's saying that he of course believes that what was done is not correct, given that the practice of wearing a hijab in itself is not something that is new. Your response to him?
So, Madhav, these people need to understand one thing. The college is at the fag end of the academic career. They were not wearing any hijab till last month. Suddenly, some 6 students came to the college, defying the uniform policy, wearing hijab. Then they were told to remove the hijab, sit in the classroom as everybody is sitting. Why did they not wear for 1.5 years? Why now in the end of the academic year? This is not being answered at all. Nobody is against hijab or burqa. It is Muslim tradition and they are free to wear it. There is a fundamental right to wear them. But when you get admitted to a school where uniform is mandatory, you have to observe it. How can you advocate that my religion is superior than your discipline? Then if you want your religion superiority to be accepted, then you have to go to a school where it is accepted. It's a very simple, but this is a conspiracy against the BJP government in Karnataka. Suddenly, this 6 students, which they started, has spread to the several districts in Karnataka. Today, it is going out of control. State government has declared 3 days holiday.
Okay.
How did it go out?
We have limited time, so I'm going to interrupt over there. I want Rizwan Siddiqui to respond to that point. Rizwan Siddiqui, what is the purpose of having uniforms? Whether it is, for forces, whether it is in schools, whether it is in hospitals, there are multiple locations where uniforms are there. And the whole idea of having a uniform is that, everybody is treated equally. That idea and the principle is equality and nothing else, says the BJP. And outside of schools or outside of these areas, it's not like the hijab has been banned. So why is this protest happening? It's a conspiracy against the BJP government, there is the version of the spokesperson. Your response to that, Rizwan Siddiqui?
See, first and foremost, let me be very clear that I do not want to politicize the entire thing. I do not know what is the role of BJP in the entire matter and to what extent are they to be blamed for anything. I don't want to put blame games on anybody. But being a very neutral party and being a practicing Muslim, I would just like to be very clear about certain things that, if it's a part of your faith and that is being covered under the Constitution and you have the religious freedom to practice your faith, and if that comes in the way of your uniform, and if you're saying that if there's a particular prescribed uniform by a school and because of by virtue of wearing a uniform, a Muslim or anybody from any other caste is not allowed to practice their faith or practice their religion, then this will apply to everybody by and large. It will also apply to somebody who follows the Sikhism, the Sikh religion, or any other religion for that matter. But what I see is that if a particular community is targeted, now the question here is that what the learned gentleman was talking about is that the girls were not wearing it earlier and they suddenly started wearing it just about a month ago. So the answer to that is, as far as the girls are concerned, most of the girls who
can I come in?
Just one second. Okay.
When the girls hit puberty, that is
I just want to bring in Karan Verma and Dr. Ayla Sikandar is also with us. But the question that is there, Karan Verma, is that, and many would ask, is that when it comes to temple entry of women, whether it is Shani Shignapur, whether it is Sabrimala, then it is the idea of reform, the idea of progress that is put forth when religion and constitutional values come into conflict. In this particular case, if it is a question of what is many believe is not an essential essential religious practice. Of course, the petitioners believe otherwise. They have gone to the High Court saying so. So where do these issues, at the end of the day, how do they see themselves out? Is there a disjunction in the way in which we're looking at this issue and in the way that we have looked at past issues in the recent times? Karan Verma.
Madhav, this is a very critical moment for our nation, because here we are talking about educational institutes which are going to shape the future of the next generation. Let's be very clear about it, Madhav. Let's put legal points aside. The fact of the matter is, do we want a society where we have these sort of restrictions for girls in colleges, where they have to be in a burqa or a veil or a hijab, and the Quran is very clear about it. I can read out chapter 24, verse number 31, which clearly says that the women must lower their gaze and guard their chastity and cover their headscarves over their chests. Do we expect such girls tomorrow to become the next Sania Mirza or Indra Nui or PV Sindhu? What kind of society are we talking about building here if we have this type of radical theology creeping into educational institutions? And that is the question we have to evolve on as a society. Tomorrow, the legal standpoint could be different. Let's not forget, for talaq-e-biddat, people were quoting Article 29, which gives them cultural rights. But that does not justify that. If there are lacunas in the laws which can protect such evil practices, we need laws, and we want society to reach a consensus where we know that we need a liberal atmosphere in schools. We cannot have theological, religious symbols.
Dr. Ahila, your response to this charge that there are differential standards or different standards when it comes to reforms and social practices. Your response to that?
Well, if removing hijabs will make Muslim women equal to the others, then I would like to say that unfortunately this is not the point which I am here to make, because in Constitution, as we all know, that Article 25, Clause 1 gives us the opportunity, gives us the right to freedom of religion. If we are talking about the religious practices, well, Islam gives you the way to study. It never hinders you. It never hinders you to go further without modesty. Well, Islam asks us to... Now, let me finish. See, I am also a practicing Muslim. I know, right? And I'm also
let him make a point.
And I have this constitution, the book of constitution with me, which is my holy book. Being a lawyer, this is my holy book. And I truly believe in this. It is giving me all the freedoms to practice my religion as well as practice as an equal and to live here in India as an equal citizen. It gives me all the rights. If someone is wearing hijab and if not wearing hijab, hijab is not stopping you to go further. If someone wants to become Sania Mirza has each and every right to go further. If she's not wearing hijab, or if she's wearing hijab, it's a matter of her choice. Islam.
All right, it is ultimately about choice. That's the sum and substance of your argument, and fair enough. In fact, ultimately, it's that choice and that argument that the High Court will be looking at when it hears this matter again at 2:30 tomorrow. I'd like to thank all our guests for joining us. Slipping into a quick break for now.